Hi, this is Amy with Toolbox Tarot, and today I'm doing a Dear Tarot reading, which is supposed to be something like an advice column, perhaps, but letting the tarot give the advice, and, probably yours truly as well, but I did this like I do my Tarot Tuesdays, where I shuffled the cards and pulled them and chatted you up for about 40 minutes, and then I realized that when I paused it, it just cut the video in two. There's no pausing, there's only stopping, and so it wasn't one continuous video, and I threw it in the garbage. So now I've got it all laid out, and it's probably going to be a little more coherent and cohesive, hopefully truncated, because I've already been through it once. So let's get started. First of all, I want to say that I'm using the Tarot of the Absurd by Jessica Rose Shannon for the body of the reading, and then I've chosen a significator. This is not something I've done before, actually, but it's really old-fashioned tarot kind of thing to do. And the way that you choose the significator is that you get the querent's birthday and you add the numbers together, and you reduce them down through addition to the simplest number. And the querent's card is the Empress. So I hope that's clear enough. The question at hand is this: how do I stay centered and live out the moments without directing negative emotion outward? I feel like I could give a little context here in that the querent is moving, and all the feelings of stress that come up along that, even if it's exactly what you want to do, it still ain't easy. So I did something clever here, and then looks like I've lost a little piece of paper. I am trying to find number one. Where's number one? Did it hit the floor? Oh well, I will get by without it, I guess. So, the question is, how do I stay centered and live out the moments without directing negative emotion outward? You can all understand that, given the context. I'm still looking for that piece of paper. I found it. All right. So, in a tarot layout, each card, in the tarot, each card has a basic meaning, which is influenced by the cards that are around it, and in relation to the question. But I've laid out a spread here, and in addition to the meanings of the cards and their interrelationship to each other and the question at hand, each of the positions has a meaning, and I've predetermined that, and I've written down all that good stuff over here. So we're going to stay focused on the question, which is about staying centered so that you don't bite somebody else's head off just because you're in a stressful situation. Not just because, but while you're in a stressful situation. So card number one that I drew was Temperance, which is a major arcana card. And the position is asking you to think about what you're avoiding. So you're wanting to be centered and be present in the moment, and not direct your negative energy towards somebody else. And what you're avoiding is temperance, according to the tarot. And temperance is about moderation. It's about blending together extremes or opposites, perhaps. A lot of times I think about like blending together what's going on the inside with what's going on in the outside. But in this particular case, I would think about extremes. So we're talking about feelings. So trying to put together, measure out the good feelings that you have connected to the situation, and blend them together with the negative feelings that you have about the situation, and to understand that all of the good feelings are connected to everything about the situation, and all of the negative feelings are also, just distributed evenly as well. So, for example, when you're in a relationship, it's really easy to blame the other person when you've got feelings that are uncomfortable. It's just kind of what we do. And I understand that that's what you're trying to avoid. But this is saying that what you're avoiding is harmony. So the second position is right here, and the card is the 7 of sticks, and the position is, how are you separating yourself from others? So I guess it's like, where's the adversity, or like where's the divisiveness? And the 7 of sticks is about standing up for what you think is right. So in this context, I would guess it would be, how are you separating yourself from others? By being right. And I think that that's easy to do. If you're irritated with your spouse during a stressful time, there's plenty of reasons to be irritated with your spouse at all times. But you're using being right about something as a way to create a separation between you and your spouse. So what is your responsibility? What responsibility do you need to accept is in position number 3. And the card is the 4 of Cups. The 4 of Cups, I'll go back to this first. Sticks the elements fire, and has to do with passion, drive, energy, focus, just drive, inspiration, that kind of stuff. So fire, that kind of thing. Whereas cups, for number 3, cups have to deal with emotions, feelings, the unconscious, intuition, subconscious. So this particular card speaks about ennui, or about meh in general. If you look at this drawing, you'll see that there's a certain amount of opulence. There's little champagne flutes that are being ignored. Like, everything's just so ordinary. Even if it's wonderful, even if it's freaking champagne, you're just bored with it. Look, she's got hers. She's just like, meh, I don't care. Is that all there is? Kind of a situation. So perhaps that describes, you're moving, you're creating a new life, and the only thing that you're bringing with you is your relationship, and that's been around a while. So that's the third position. The fourth position is the heart of the matter. And I pulled the Fool card. So, the Fool is the hero of the journey of the major arcana. The Fool, if the Fool doesn't show up, nothing happens. And it depicts a leap of faith, like a stepping into the unknown. A lot of times they'll show this foolish jester person, like whistling a little tune and looking up the other way, and then stepping, and they're on the edge of a cliff. And it seems like when you are moving into the unknown, the heart of the matter here is that you have done that. You've decided to move to a different place, and you don't know what it's going to be like, and you're leaving the familiar behind, and you're doing it in hopes of creating something new and different. I don't think the Fool is even that studied. The Fool isn't hoping for anything. The Fool just is present and just like alive and enjoying life, and things happen when you're doing that. So the innocence, the foolhardiness, the heedless advancement into the unknown is what the Fool is. And at the heart of the matter is that you've done that, you've taken that leap, and now you're heading off the cliff, and you're looking around and you're going, oh shit, I've stepped off the cliff, because you haven't landed in your new spot yet. So, and you knew that. The fifth position is how do you heal? And this is the only court card that showed up, and it's the King of Sticks. And I happened to take some notes. I was studying about the court cards, and the King of Wands, if you're trying to think about who the King of Wands is, the King of Wands is a champion. And that brought some new insight to this card for me. The position is how do you heal? And so since it's a court card, this is an aspect of yourself that's being called forward to heal yourself. So you're going to focus on the part of yourself that knows how to focus, direct, rule your energy, and to do it in a way that's conscious of your responsibility to your community. So, the Suit of Sticks is the elements fire. It has to do with passion, energy, drive, inspiration. We saw it down here as well. So you've got two fires and a water, and the rest are major arcana. So as far as everyday stuff goes, you think you're right, and that's what's coming between you and others, is your being right and standing up for being right. That's what's coming between you. The other snapshot card is the Four of Cups, which is what you need to, what responsibility do you need to accept? You need to accept that, you're taking the situation for granted when it comes to your feelings, because cups have to do with feelings. How do you heal yourself? You heal yourself by channeling, by focusing your energies, being like the King of Sticks. The King of Sticks is powerfully passionate, but he doesn't let his passion get the better of him. I'm going to not gender this card anymore. The King of Sticks knows how to use their power and their passion and their drive and their energy and their inspiration and focus it towards a goal that will make the situation better for everybody. It's like a laser beam. It's like knowing where to point that bottle rocket, but better than a bottle rocket, a laser beam. Okay, so how do you heal? By mastering your passion. And I want to bring the significator in here at this point. Because I know you, querent, and I know that your passion, like a lot of us at different times, is sometimes not as clear as others. But you have it. I know you well enough to know that you're a passionate person. Anybody who knows you knows that you're a passionate person. But let's get to the significator now, because when I pulled this card, I read what Barbara Moore had to say about this character, and I was thinking about you, and I underlined a little piece of advice in the book. Here it is. If you've not yet, can you read it? Is it out of focus? Dagnabbit. All right, forget that. I'm just going to point it at the lady, and I'll read it to you. If you've not yet planted anything, choose carefully, because your heart and your life are fertile. The Empress is all about creativity and fertility and the abundance of creation, the natural abundance, the how the world that we live in, how life wants to create and does create in so many different ways. It combines and creates, and it's magical. And the Empress embodies that. The Empress allows us to understand through looking at this image and like investing ourselves in this concept, helps us to understand that we're powerfully involved in the creation of life and in the creation of the world that we live in. And we're part of that, and we are an embodiment of that rich, powerful, creative, fertile source. And I brought her in here because if you don't know what your passion is, be careful. If you're not sure what you're passionate about, you still need to be very careful about what seeds you plant. Because if you plant apple trees, you're going to get apples. If you plant deadly nightshade, you're going to get deadly nightshade. So if you've not yet planted anything, choose carefully, because your heart and your life are fertile. And I think you're feeling that right now. So the next card is the Hierophant. And the position is, what are you building, planting, creating, growing? And I think it's really easy, because we're talking about the situation, to have this card want to be about the situation. But let's make it about the question. How do you stay centered and live out the moments without directing negative emotion outward? So in the pursuit of that goal, living in the moment and not directing negative emotions outward during a stressful time. The Hierophant has to do with systems of knowing, organized religion, schools of thought, institutional learning, that kind of thing. So What are you building when you ask this question? You're creating a structure, or you're engaging in a system of knowing. So even if you are feeling feelings that you don't want to feel, and you realize that you are, uncomfortable, and you are, causing strife, and you don't want to do that, and you want to be better, by asking the question, you are creating and engaging in a structure and a system that will help you. So if you want to stay centered, what advice do you give yourself? What are there systems like, about meditation and walking outside, and there's all sorts of materials available to you to help you do that. And you are building a connection between yourself and these systems of knowing. Even when you don't feel them, you can fall back on them. Even if you don't want to be moderate, even if you don't want to, like inside of you, there's a petulant child who, has feelings, and feelings are freaking expected. And you don't want to moderate your feelings. You just want to like freaking growl and scratch and point your finger. That's what you're not wanting to do this. You want to just be sloppy, emotionally sloppy. I mean, this is not just you, person, dear querent. This is all of us, or me for sure anyway. I'm emotionally sloppy, but by asking this question about how do you stay centered and live out the moments without directing negative emotions outward, you're engaging with a system of knowing, and you can fall back on it, and you're building a stronger connection to those things so that when you are in a situation like this one, you can fall back on the structure that's in place. And then finally, the last card is first steps to staying centered. And you got the World card, which is 2 + 1 is 3. Right? And the Empress is also 3, which is very sweet. The World is the last card in the major arcana. And I love that the Fool is also in here. Well, the Fool isn't the first card in the major arcana, that's the Magician. The Fool is the instigator, the mover. So, the World, the first step to staying centered, I've got to read you something. And it's from the Slow Holler deck. And first step to staying centered. I put to staying centered, the position is first step. I put to staying centered to just keep on task with the question that you posed. Doop-a-doop-a-doop. Sorry for the dead air. Here we go. I'm just going to put this out here. The World. The first step to staying centered and not living out the moments without directing negative emotion outward is be receptive to harmony, which is kind of what you were avoiding with with Temperance. Be receptive to harmony. Come home. Be welcomed back into the fold. Share your gifts with those who love you. Participate in creating the world you want. Welcome home. Is there anything that doesn't know you? Home may take many different forms, but you know when you have arrived there. You are able to reconnect with the familiar and become more familiar to yourself. All of those missing pieces you've forgotten were lost are restored to you here. You are at the height of your powers and in the exact place you need to be. The World card indicates that you've completed a major accomplishment, concluded a phase of life, fulfilled a dream, or returned from a voyage. The World represents the infinity and eternity, beginning and end, completion of a cycle. It offers you the promise of wholeness, flourishing, and pleasure in your life. When the World appears in your reading, you're given the chance for synthesis and integration. Wherever you're positioned, you have the opportunity to sense the underlying unity and harmony of the circle you inhabit. Your participation enhances and completes what already exists. As you give freely, you receive in abundance your heart's desire. So I feel like this reading really holds together. It's saying that the first step is you've already taken it. You've already completed it. The first step is, to your question about staying centered, this is it. You've already started it. So what if you have been shitty or having shitty feelings? I'm sorry if you've been having shitty feelings, but you've already taken the first step. And I just want to put this together, like with this returning home and the wholeness and sharing with the ones that you've loved and with already being there. I want you to put it together with the Four of Cups. Like you're already home. And I want you to put it together with, they're talking about blending everything together. And that's what you're avoiding. You're avoiding blending things together. But the first step is to say, look, everything is all blended together already. So I will send you, Querent, dear Querent, I will send you a picture of the spread, and I hope that we'll get a chance to talk about it on the phone. Thanks for watching, and thanks for the question, and blessed be.